Morning, guys. Hey, before we hop on our time machines, I just want to share...
Whoops.
Oh, you okay, honey?
Nice job.
Yeah, like I said, before we hop on the time machine, I just want to do a little lesson in life, okay? Now, everybody knows in life that you always remember the bad things you do, but you forget about the good things you do, right? Well, anyways, has anybody in this church ever taken something that didn't belong to them?
We'll never admit it.
Has anybody in this church ever taken anything that didn't belong to them? Okay, don't be bashful, because I did, okay? All right, you did too? Okay. Now, 60 years ago, I did something bad, all right? And you want me to share it with you? Okay, I was 9 years old, and it was a couple weeks before Christmas, and I was excited because Christmas was coming, and it was a Saturday morning. I was watching my favorite television show. It wasn't SpongeBob or Curious George, but back then we had a show called, anybody know?
Howdy Doody.
Howdy Doody, okay. So I was watching this Howdy Doody show on a Saturday morning, and I watched it every Saturday. It was my favorite show. And on the show, they had Clarabelle, which was a clown, and he'd be running around squirting everybody with a seltzer bottle. And we had Flub-a-Dub, we had Dilly Dally, we had Phineas T. Bluster, which was an old puppet. Remember the puppets that were up here last year? Well, this was all puppets, okay? Hey, wait, I heard, do you hear something in that bag over there? What could it be? Well, it's Howdy Doody, okay? This is what Howdy Doody looked like back in the old days. So anyway, can Howdy sit with you guys? Yeah. Okay, you want to sit right here, okay? So, here it is, Saturday morning, I'm watching Howdy Doody show, and Clarabelle comes out. He says, hey, there's something new that's out for you kids. And he takes this big thing and he bounces it down onto the floor, and it bounces up, hits the ceiling, and then he grabs it, and then he stretches out. And back then when we were kids, we had comic books. You guys probably don't know what comic books are, but they were cartoon characters, okay? So he took this material, and he rubbed it on his comic book, pulled it out, and it showed the face that was on the comic book, and he started stretching it. And I said, man, is that stuff neat? Now, you guys remember what that stuff was called? Yeah. Okay. And I just so happen to have, if you kids don't know this is what it was. So anyways, Saturday morning after the Howdy Doody show, we had to go out shopping. You want to hold on to this, RJ? And my parents were going to do some Christmas shopping. So we went to a place, it was like Myrtle Mills. You guys remember Myrtle Mills? Okay. I told my parents I wanted to go into the toy department. So I went to the toy department, and what did I see out in the hallway? Right by the toys, this big kettle, and what do you think it was full of? Silly putty, right? Now, I was 9 years old, didn't have not even a penny in my pocket. So I'm looking at it, and looking around, looking at it, and looking at it, and I shoved it into my pocket. Shouldn't have done it, okay? So then, I felt like somebody was watching me. So I got a little nervous. So I walked over to my mom and dad and said, Mom, Dad, I'm going to go out into the car and wait for you guys. They said, okay, just be careful. So I'm walking out of the store, and what do you think happened? There was these two guys. It says, hey, little boy, what have you got in your hand? What do you got in your pocket? What do you have in your pocket? And I knew I was done, you know? He said, come on, what do you got in that pocket? So I pull out silly putty. Well, come out with me. Brought me into the store. They took me up into this office where it was an upstairs office where you could oversee the stores. And I heard the guys in the background saying, what do you think we should do? Well, let's call the police department. And I was getting so scared, and the sweat was just pouring out of me. And anyways, they said, well, we got to get his parents down here first. So they went to the PA. You got to need a little water, Joe. Right there. Okay. Well, it's dry as a desert. So anyways, I'm sitting in a chair, I could oversee the whole store. He says, will Mr. and Mrs. Coles come up to the front of the store over by the service desk? And I was trembling in that chair. And anyways, I see my parents coming down the hallway. And they come in, and he says, Mr. and Mrs. Coles? I says, yes. We have your son, and he stole some silly putty out of the store. You want us to call the police department? My dad says, no, I will take care of it. So, would you be scared? Huh? So anyways, we went back out to the car, and I'm trembling, because I thought maybe I was going to get a real good spanking, or a lot of bad things were going to happen. So my mom and dad said to me, we're not happy what you did. Do you know what you did wrong? I said, yes, I do. Okay, you ever going to do that again? I says, no, Mom and Dad, I promise I never will. And that was the end of it, okay? 2 weeks later, it's Christmas morning. And you guys ever hang socks?
Yes.
I was excited. I couldn't wait to get down and see what Santa Claus brought me. So I get downstairs, and the first thing I went to was my sock. And what do you think was in that sock? Silly putty, okay? So I looked at it. And you get a flashback. Say, oh boy, you know. So anyways, Christmas was pretty good, okay? I got other gifts and all, I was happy. So anyways, in March, 3 months later, was my birthday. And I had all my friends over for a birthday party. And anyways, had cake, and I kept looking over at the table over there. Had a lot of presents over there. It was just big present. And I couldn't wait to get my hands on that big present. So anyways, I had my cake. Came time to open up the presents, and I grabbed that big box first. So I had bows and fancy paper on it. Started ripping it open. There was a little box inside. Took that little box out, and there was another little box inside. So what the heck's this? And I kept going down. I got down to this real little box. And when I opened it up, what do you think was in that box? Silly putty. So anyways, the following Christmas, what do you think I got my sock?
Silly putty.
And then the next Christmas, what do you think I got my sock? Okay, so that really taught me a lesson. Now, I was 16 years old, and I was working at Howard Johnson's. I was washing dishes, and I got my first car. It was an old Ford convertible. An old Ford, and a few of my friends had old cars. And back then, you had to have white walls and fancy hubcaps. Okay? So anyways, this Friday night, my friends were with me, and he says, hey, this Friday night, you know, Kurt don't have any hubcaps on his car. We want to get some Dodge Lancer hubcaps. And I happen to have a Dodge Lancer hubcap here. So everybody had to have these back in the old days. John, you remember these? Whoops, I'm sorry. 1957 Dodge Lancer hubcaps. So anyways, he said, we're going to get a set of these Dodge Lancer hubcaps. And they said, you're going to come with us, right? I said, oh, no, I'm not. You know? And then they started saying, oh, you big chicken, come on. We're going to be fast. We're going to go out there, we're going to put those hubcaps. I said, no, I don't want to go. I ain't going to do this. I'm not going to do that. So anyways, that Friday night, I stayed home. And then Saturday morning, I heard from another one of my friends, hey, did you hear what happened last night? Did you hear what happened? What do you think happened? What do you think happened to my friends? They got caught, they got arrested. Okay? So, they had to go to court. They couldn't drive their cars no more. They were penalized. So anyways, it goes to show you kids, if you get tempted going down the wrong path of life, hop on the good path. So we're going to have a little closing prayer for this. And then we're going to move on to the history. Dear Lord Jesus, there's good roads in life, there's bad roads in life, loaded with temptations. Please, dear Lord, let us follow your GPS and always follow the good path of life, which will take you someday at the end of our life to the golden gates of heaven where you will greet us. We thank you so much, dear Lord God, for everything you do for us. And please, always keep us on the good roads of life. Thank you, dear God. Now, for our history lesson. First of all, last 2 weeks ago, because I can't see nobody in back of me, we were talking about this schoolhouse. And I heard that Marilyn had her arm up. And did you want to share something with us about the school? Because I know you went to the school, right, Marilyn? You have anything you want to share?
Oh, I have too much to share.
You got a little bit?
I don't know. What do you want to know about it?
Well,
There were
what
like
grades,
four rooms.
what grades did you go to? Did you go first grade through eighth grade?
Yeah. No, first grade through seventh grade. Eighth grade went to Terryville, and Prospect Street School, which is now closed, was the high school when they had seventh and eighth grade in a section of that school. So
Okay.
I went kindergarten, no, not kindergarten, there wasn't kindergarten when I started school. But first grade through seventh, and there were 2 grades to a room.
Did you have
2 teachers.
indoor bathrooms?
No,
Outdoor bathrooms?
outdoor bathroom.
Outhouses. That again is the church that she went to, was sitting right over here.
School.
Okay, now, what year are we gonna go back to, kids? You guys see the date on there? We're gonna go back 151 years ago. March 23rd, 1863. Now, you guys ever heard of the word slavery?
Yes.
You know how bad, that was a bad part of our history, okay? Now, to show you how bad it is, I need some volunteers. I want to just show you. We're going to make believe that this is a public auction where we're going to auction off some slaves. June.
No.
I need 3 kids. Go ahead, get up there. Go ahead. Anybody else? Oh, you're going to go up there? Okay.
Come on, guys.
I need a female, June, the other June.
He never forgets my name.
June and June, yes.
He won't forget it.
All right. We're going to make believe that this is a public auction selling slaves. We're going to make believe that everybody up here is black. Okay? It's a black family. We have the mother, we have the dad, we have all the kids. Now, normally at a slave auction, they would try to sell the whole family together. Sometimes they couldn't. So they would say, okay, well, who would offer me $500 for this whole family? This guy, look at the muscles on this guy. He can work 16 hours a day out in the field. No. This girl was a good cook. She could cook and sew. And these kids here, you could work them 14, 15 hours a day out in the fields because you weren't allowed to go to school if you're black. Did you know that? That was bad. So anyways, a lot of times the families couldn't stay together. They say, like, who give me $500 for this whole family? Come on, it's a good deal. They wouldn't get no takers. Some of the plantation would say, how about this guy? Who'll give me $200 for this guy? And so, oh, that plantationeer will take it. So Bill would leave. He would kiss his wife goodbye. You don't have to.
Thank you, George.
And then they would say, okay, this lady, this lovely lady here, she is a real great cook, and she's a great sewer. Who's going to take her? Oh, $100? Okay, she's sold over to that plantation. Hey, these kids over here, hey, you got kids here. They're all young. They can work out in the field and give you 10, 12 hours a day. All right. Well, we're going to sell, two of these guys going over here, and then these 2 guys are going over to the other family, to another plantation owner. And their families would never see each other again. They would rip families apart. Anyways, you guys can sit back down, but that's a rough idea how bad slavery was. Now, in our church, sit down, honey. You want to get down, Kylie? Let me help.
We're together.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So back in this church, this pastor was the pastor. His name was Robert Norner. He was here for 4 years. I couldn't find that much information about his history in this church, but I would assume that he was involved in the Underground Railroad. They had this system. Yeah, let me talk about the Underground Railroad. They had a system called the Underground Railroad. Did you ever hear of it? Yeah. Okay. So you guys already talked about this in school? Yeah. Nothing to do with railroads, but it was a system of all secret paths and safe houses to try to get the slaves from out of the South up into the northern states. See, the southern states, they wanted slavery. The northern states did not. And up in Canada, slaves were totally free. So there started to be slaves that would escape. And then you would see these kind of rewards put up. You know, a slave runs away, and somebody will put up $200 to capture the slave. So they came up with a system called the Underground Railroad. And these guys, I couldn't get pictures of the other two guys, but there was 4 in this church that were deacons of this church. Like I said, he was the pastor. William Bull, who used to live right in your house, right, Marilyn?
Yes.
Okay? He had 14 kids. And he was part of the Underground Railroad. They were called either conductors, abolitionists, or Minutemen, like we'll call them Minutemen. And this guy named Joel Blakesley. And we also had Daniel Dunbar and Farron Dunbar. And they had this system where they would go down to Wilton, Connecticut, and meet another conductor who would help them get slaves and start hiding them and getting up here towards the north where they could be free. And anyways, you guys probably see this every time you go to Sunday school. Recognize that house?
Yes.
Okay? You guys recognize this house? Well, guess what this house has to do with the underground slaves? You know? Okay, tell me what.
Good going, man.
You are right. And this cellar was a hidden tunnel. And the hidden tunnel went up into the woods to a shack where they would hide slaves. And I'm sure it doesn't say too much in history, Judy, about safe houses around here, but I'm sure there was quite a few safe houses that had secret rooms in them where they could hide slaves. So these bad guys couldn't get a hold of them. And there was also one lady, a very famous lady, her name was Harriet. And I forget her last name right now. Yeah, Harriet Tubman. She was a slave when she was 5 years old. And she had a tough life, and she broke away from slavery, and she started to help free the slaves and get them into the Underground Railroad. And let me put this here. All the bad guys wanted her so bad that they put a $40,000 reward on to capture her, because she's hundreds and hundreds of slaves she would free and get them up towards the north. And anybody that hopped on her and followed her, and even blacks, if they said, well, no, I don't think I want to go, she would shoot them. Say, hey, you started your path to freedom. You ain't gonna quit. So $40,000 in today's money, what do you think? $500,000? That was a lot of money. Okay? They wanted her out so bad. So anyways, this Underground Railroad agent, you can see at night. That's a family here running, escaping. There was a lot of secret messages. You ever heard of the quote that's downstairs that everybody's going to sign? That blanket? Yeah. All right. Back then, they had secret codes. And they would sew these onto quilts. And they would hang quilts outside of windows, outside of doors, on fences, and would help the slaves that didn't have guidance to be able to follow these codes saying, matter of fact, I'll bring this down the cellar after where you can read the codes. And they would follow the North Star or the Big Dipper at night, always heading north. And a lot of times when they would tell them, hey, you got to look for a safe place to hide, or you had to disguise yourself. I mean, it was quite a system that they had to get the slaves up to freedom. And another way that they were able to get slaves and hide them? What do you think they did here? You see anything special about this wagon?
Yeah, it's hollow.
See anything special? All right, see underneath here? They would hide slaves in here, put the trapdoor over the back, and then they would have hay in the wagon. Nobody would even know they were in there. So they had all these kind of secret passes, secret ways of getting slaves up from here to Farmington, where they could continue on to their journey up to Canada where they would be free. So, at that time, Abraham Lincoln, he hated slavery. And you ever heard about the Emancipation Proclamation? In school, you guys have heard about that already? Anybody else here know, did they know what the Emancipation Proclamation is? Well, I know one guy that thought he knew what it was. and he tried to explain it. I don't know if you remember this show. Remember this guy? Barney Fife. Andy Griffith. Hope he was going to school. They were talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. And Andy Griffith wanted him to tell him what the Emancipation Proclamation is. And he stumbled and stumbled like I did a few weeks ago. But anyway, this is the Emancipation Proclamation. Basically what it boils down to is the freedom of the slaves. That all men should be equal. That they shouldn't be, So anyways, this stirred up the South. This got them real mad. And the Civil War started up. You ever heard of the Civil War? You heard about that? Oh, what grade are you in? Wow. The Civil War was absolutely the deadliest war of all wars. All right, it was trying to fight to free the slaves. And you had Robert E. Lee. You heard of Robert E. Lee? He was a bad guy. You heard of the Battle of Gettysburg? There's a lot of bad battles. And like I say, anybody have any how many soldiers died in the Civil War? There's 650,000. It's an all-time record for the amount of soldiers that got killed was during the Civil War. World War I had 112,000, I believe. World War II had about 450,000. Anyways, that holds the record for being the absolute worst war for casualties. Now, what also happens during wars to horses? Anybody know? Yeah. A lot of horses got killed. Horses, mules, donkeys. Any idea how many got killed in the war? Because they would shoot horses right out from underneath them. 500,000. 500,000 horses, donkeys, and it's sad. Now, you see this guy here? All right. See this guy here? This was his son. And he used to go to this church. His name was Erastus Blakesley. And they say, well, what's so special about him? Well, when he was going to his church, he liked church so much that he wanted to become a pastor. So he went to seminar. Yeah, okay. And he started to preach to become a pastor. Now, Abraham Lincoln was, when the Civil War was starting up, was trying to get as many volunteers as they could for this bad war coming up. He got out of seminar, and he joined the army. Here's the guy here. Everybody see him? Very, very, very important guy that touches not only Plymouth, but the whole United States. This guy here, in 5 years' time, when he joined the army, at the end, he started out as a private, and at his 5th year, he was a brigadier general. He was wounded during the Civil War, and he was seeing a lot of his soldiers getting shot and killed because you know why? They had really no means of loading their guns quick or bringing ammunition to the firing grounds. So he came up with a patent. They called it the Blakesley loading cartridge box, which is right here. And I'm going to bring this downstairs for you to see. He invented that. That saved thousands of soldiers where they could load their guns quicker and bring ammunition right up front. He saved thousands of lives. I mean, he's such an important part, not only to Plymouth, but the whole world. And then at the Smithsonian Institute, they have a display of his cartridge box. And also, out of curiosity, I looked at some of the auctions. One of these was found and recently sold on the auction block, the military auction block. How much do you think they got for it? No. $7,400. You know, that's a lot of money. So anyways, this guy has a very important part of our church history. So, you guys have any questions at all? Questions? All right, there's one last thing I want to share with you before you guys go to Sunday school. And you got to follow me over here you get all your stuff and you're ready to go to Sunday school? Okay? Come on over here. Right over to this wall. There's another important part of history that not only involves Plymouth, but the whole United States. All right, I want you guys to start out with these windows here. Now you see that house right across? The gray house? I'll wait till you guys get over there. Okay. You guys can come over here too. You got more than one window. Okay, can everybody see that house right across, right over there? What do you think happened in that house? Any idea? I'm going to give you a little hint. A little bit of, okay. George Washington did sleep there back in 1780, before he was president, made president in 1789. But this house looked a lot different back in the 1780s, and I'm going to pass these pictures around the church during the service. This is what it looked like in 1780. Now, that house was built by Major David Smith, and he was friends with George Washington up at Valley Forge. And anyways, every time that George Washington would come up through here, heading up towards Hartford, he would stop by the Major's house and sleep there. You can't see, honey? Let me go. See that house over there? See that house right across the street? This is what it looked like in 1780. It's a lot different, huh? Yep, that's the same house. So anyways, we have a lot of very, very touching history that not only ties to Plymouth, but the whole United States. And I thank you guys so much for being part of us and talking about the Jesus Church. Thank you very much. And we're done. Here, if you want to pass this around the church during the rest of the service, this is how the house looked back in the 1780s.